Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producers here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
We have a Weird Job guest. Let's get to it.
Yeah, it's weird doing a live Weird Job Wednesday, but because I have to sit and stare at the person while that. Well, anyway, here's the song. Let's just do the song. I can't look at him. I got to turn my back to him. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Man. Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Dentist edition. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. We're talking teeth. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Oral appliances. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
On today's Weird Job, we have a dentist, which I've been waiting for. Dr. David Sutton from Dapper Dental is here on the couch. Full disclosure, he is advertising. He is becoming a partner of Tom and Dan.
I love it.
I've always wanted a dentist advertiser because I think finding the right dentist is difficult.
It really was a dream come true for him as a business. I'm serious. Like, I know that sounds
really selfish
insane,
because
guys.
I was looking for a new dentist.
Yeah, he was indeed looking for a new dentist because he described his old dentist. Now I can say this.
Well,
he
it sounded like he was in the movie Hostel.
Yeah,
No.
well, he called him, and I'll quote because it's one of the funniest names you've ever made up, Dr. Murder Gum. It sounds like a villain in a James Bond movie.
I know the guy.
Yeah, you know
yeah.
Murder Gum?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they say outside of his practice, he's very kind.
He's very kind, very generous.
So, David, before we get into it, I feel like a lot of people are like me, where they just stumbled. I Google searched the closest general dentist to me, and I'm just like, oh, whatever. It's
I
all
think you're
the same.
the norm, yeah.
And then I just started using him, and I had a bad experience every single time. But I just went back because I'm too lazy
Sam,
to find someone else.
How often does he complain? I mean, that
They're
one.
murdering my
I'm
gums.
serious.
Oh, every time.
They dropped my tooth on the floor.
That's unacceptable.
There were 2 times that I know for a fact that you had to power through it here. And that makes me a little bit sad. I'm an empath.
Yeah.
It makes me sad when you're sitting at your desk and I can tell that you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You can't talk. Your mouth is inflamed. And that one time was they did your
root canal.
Yeah, your root canal. I had the same procedure. Mine was like a day. He had it. It was like it took like a week. They were using a mule to like mix the cement and it was ridiculous.
And I was like, it's all the same. So, and then our friend Brendan O'Connor introduced us to David Sutton, and he's like, hey, you have to talk to David because he's got a great practice. It's a Winter Park. He's younger than the traditional.
He's cool.
Yeah,
and he's attractive. And when you get him on the camera,
extremely attractive.
Yeah, your chat room will lust after his good looks.
So let's start with the beginning, David.
There's people in the chat just screaming, I need teeth.
We all need teeth.
Yeah. That it seems like
Why would you say that?
a profession that is always going to be needed, right? Like
Yes.
everybody's got teeth, and they all just
Well, not everybody.
Yeah. I mean, there are the
Someone
two,
just said in the
there
chat they
are
need
the
them.
too far gones.
Yeah, there is. That
But
is true.
even they can.
They would prefer teeth.
dentures or something.
Yeah, there's things for them, right? There's
Yeah,
things that you
yeah.
can do for them.
Things for everybody.
So,
Yeah.
David, where did you start? Did you always want to become a dentist? How did it begin?
All right. Good question. So I used to want to do genetic research. I used to watch Jurassic Park and think it was really cool to study and do all this cool stuff with a lab coat. And then when I actually was doing it when I was in college, I really didn't like it. So at the time, I started shadowing a bunch of people, surgeons, dentists, optometrists, whatever, and dentistry just kind of made sense. It stuck with me. I like people. I like tinkering.
Do dentists make fun of optometrists? I feel like I would. I feel like if I was a dentist, I'd be like, I'm in there just doing stuff. You just look at things. What are you doing? You're not poking anything.
They change glass, the slides.
The robot does most.
1 or 2. 2 or 4.
Yeah.
4 or 3. Back to 2. Giving you 4 again. Back to 1.
They're clicking the giant metal binoculars back and forth.
Shouldn't we all salute the binoculars?
So let's talk about the schooling involved. What does it even take to become a dentist nowadays?
So 4 years of college, 4 years of dental school.
Okay.
They have optional residencies if you want to go on to specialize, whether you're a surgeon, you do root canals, specialty only, orthodontists. They all have kind of their own school beyond dental. 2 years typically around that.
So the 4 years of dental school, how does it even start?
You gotta pick out your book bag. I like a JanSport. I like a good leather bottom JanSport.
Do they even here are teeth? Do they start?
Do they do the move where they're do they go look to your left? Look to your right.
One of you's not going to make it.
Yeah.
They do that, actually.
Oh, really?
They have your weed out courses.
Is it grueling?
It's pretty. Yeah, it was a busy 4 years. We do
What's harder than what we do?
For real.
Oh, I know that.
We do 2 years of bookwork, classwork, before we start working on patients. In the final 2 years, we get to do some clinicals and work on kind of everyone: geriatric, kids, special needs, get a little bit of everything, so that when you get out there, you know what you're doing.
You know what? I didn't think about that. Special needs dentist is, man, that you would need to be patient, nerves of steel, that's okay.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Well,
there would
wild.
be the surgeon. Okay, dentistry then kind of spider webs out into a lot of specialty areas.
Yeah, there's
interesting.
A lot of different specialties.
So I feel like with a dentist, you're working in someone's mouth, right?
Yeah,
so it's
pretty weird.
It's super personal. But it's really, if you're a podiatrist, right?
You put the worst things and the best things in your mouth.
Yeah. So there's, I feel like an extra level of bedside manner that you may need, which in the past I've never had with my dentist, where it's just they just walk in, they're curmudgeon old man.
I am here to check.
Yeah.
But going to murder.
So do you find that to be a successful dentist, you need that extra level of bedside manner, that personality, that trust,
man.
where there's a certain trust that the patient needs to have with you, right?
For sure. I think that's really what makes the difference. I have a lot of patients that come into me and they'll think it's weird that I'm talking. I talk a lot. So
you're a chirper?
I'm a chirper.
Yes.
So as I'm working, I'm talking, I'm kind of walking them through what's going on, and afterward they'll be like, no one's ever talked to me as they're working on me before. I'm like, what are these people doing? They're just kind of working in silence. It sounds horrible.
Well, we can't respond when we're like this.
I guess that's true.
He knows his way around asking questions you don't have to answer.
This is true. Okay. And I can understand
that's key.
Yeah.
So much with people have fingers in their mouth. It's a whole nother language.
Yeah, you've done that before.
Yeah.
You probably speak perfect Tom.
I do.
How often do you just give a random fish hook just for funsies?
It depends on the day.
So
never.
Now with I got a couple questions for you. First,
is this where you start to dig in and then you decide that you can do his job in 2 weeks?
Don't be disrespectful, Tom.
Yeah, it's a new client here, buddy.
So from going to the dentist and just feeling what they're doing, I've kind of figured it out. All right, so follow me here.
Without even just using the nerves in your mouth. You know what's going on.
I figured if you put me in your office, now I need the text to help me even see the X-rays or whatever, but and then take them for me. But follow me.
Because of your bad eyes, I think you're gonna need your glasses. Step one.
Well, first, you take an X-ray of someone's teeth, and then you look at it, and you're like, oh, there's a cavity, right? You see it in the X-ray. I've seen they've showed it to me.
It's the white spot.
Yeah. And then they're like, here it is, and then you have to drill the cavity out, which I'm sure is some sort of...
I bet that sounds fun.
I
like going to the dentist so much that I think I would like to do dentistry because I enjoy the dentist that much.
So let's go back to what even is a cavity?
Dude, that's okay. I'd love to make fun of you, but that's a good question because I'm assuming it's
an erosion of your enamel, and then
let the dentist tell us.
All right, thank you. I'll tell you, Sam. Ask me what a cavity is.
Write this down. First time ever that your producer has turned to you and said, said, you know what? Let him.
Oh my
Sorry,
God, we have
David.
a professional here.
Okay,
Cavity.
Mr.
I know what a
Dentist.
cavity is, you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
So a cavity is basically, you have multiple layers to your teeth. You have the nerve inside your tooth, which is like the deep layer. You have the softer inner part of the tooth called dentin. That's like the stuff that when it gets into dentin through your like enamel shell of your tooth, that's when it's a cavity. I always say it's kind of like a hard-boiled egg. You got like a hard outer shell. It's a weird analogy.
I hate hard yuck.
Kind of squishy inner stuff, and then the yolk, which is like the life of the tooth. So if you kind of peel back that outer shell and get into the soft stuff, that's when it's a cavity. Basically, it's just sugar settles on the tooth, bacteria sits there, eats that sugar, and then it just works its way in. It kind of tunnels its way from the outside to the inside.
Sounds terrifying.
Sounds
It's
terrifying.
pretty weird.
Is it
My
only
God, you
the
have an
sugar
important
that
job.
causes it?
It can be a combination of factors. There's definitely a genetic component. Dry mouth can typically harbor a little bit more bacteria, so it's
What about kratom?
a little
I'm
bit.
joking. That's
Don't
a
talk
joke.
about it.
It's a joke. I'm joking.
That was good for your teeth.
Damn it.
So then, to fix that, you have to like I know there's a drilling process, right?
Yeah.
You drill
But
it
you know
out.
what? I don't know what the drill looks like because I never look. Like they put it in my mouth and then they go set it down and it's all sterile and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it looks like. I assume it looks like a Makita.
You know,
know.
the tiny drill head. Like,
Yep.
what is that?
So it's a burr. It's like it's kind of like a weird version of shop clasp. You basically get like a little handpiece. It spins. It shoots water to keep the tooth kind of cool and happy, and
Like
then
a
you just
water
kind of
jet.
sweep it away.
Like if
yeah.
you were carving like rims for American shoppers on a water jet.
Yeah. So cavities make the tooth kind of soft and squishy. So you kind of just sweep the weird stuff away, and then you fill it back in with usually we use a tooth colored filling. It's called composite. Just fills back in what you take away.
Have you ever had
Yeah.
anybody try to get you to not match?
I always try to.
Their
I've tried to get people to do kind of
Like weird stuff?
Weird stuff.
Yeah,
with
like
their-
it'd be cool. Like,
no bites yet.
Yeah, I wanted my.
I
my
see what you did there.
Yeah, my dentist's not into that, but I wanted to get it. I wanted to get something
What? Hold on.
crazy in there. Like I wanted to get
A
like.
diamond on your
Science.
tooth?
Well-
I have always wanted a jewel tooth. Tom's wife
Some
has a
glitter.
jewel tooth that he forced her to take off because he doesn't like anything fun. I thought she looked like a sexy mama.
So speaking of like the filling,
Yeah.
me and Daniel are so old that they used to do silver filling.
Yeah, I
So-
had one.
yeah.
I had silver
I had
fillings.
and it always made me mad because it was kind of like the
I looked like Joe Pesci, one of the wet bandits, when I had that.
Well,
does it bing?
Yeah,
When you smile? Yeah.
it's like, it was in the back, but I had such a large cavity, and it looked like just regular silver.
Yeah.
and it was horrifying.
because like even in the 80s, I was like. I look back and I'm like, well, why couldn't you make it white?
Yeah,
Like,
from jump.
Like you didn't have the ability to make it white,
Or paint it. I would have even accepted, like, hey, we're going to paint it now. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
It had to be silver. Like that seems
The
ridiculous.
only step worse would have been black.
yeah.
I mean, and when my mouth was open, there's a Christmas photo that I have where it's on the Christmas card. It drives me crazy when I see it. And I look at me, and I'm smiling, and I got my mouth open. You can look in the bag, and he's missing a tooth, but it's not. It's the filling.
Well, like,
but I
even in
have
the 90s,
I have a tooth, sort of.
Like the beginning of Toy Story was like 92. Like you could like they
Oh,
had
yeah.
they
Yeah.
made Woody. And you couldn't
Yeah.
make the filling white. Like it was just ridiculous. So why silver?
Silver is just what they used to use. It's kind of like I don't really know. They've had composites with the tooth colored fillings for a decent amount of time, but they were really like in the beginning they were really bad. They were leaking a lot. Silver tends to, I don't know, they don't use it much anymore. They're still out there, but they tend to seal really well and work really well. So people just kind of stuck with what was tried and true.
And I guess
kind of were late adopters to the white stuff.
there were less vanity, I guess. And people were like, it's in the back of my mouth. Who cares? But then you have a mouthful of silver. Fillings, which is you're like I can see the
Like, my whole mouth looks like Johnny Depp, Pirates of the
Hide it.
Caribbean.
Or the new Joker, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he looked cool. See, there is like a weird way. If you can lean in and all my teeth are silver, then I'm a villain,
So
and that's kind of cool.
So then after you drill, like, okay, let's talk about, can you see when you're drilling out a cavity?
How do you know how far to drill?
Yeah, can you see where it's like cutting out cancer, right? Like it's just black and then you cut it all out and like, oh, only red left. Good.
I've always assumed that it's not easy to see cancer and fillings, right? And I've always assumed, now you can tell me how wrong I am to piggyback on your question, but I've always assumed that it's hard to see and that you guys just go, okay, well, I think I got it out, so now I'm going to do one more pass and hit it and clear a safety zone. You know, that's kind of the way because I'm like
exactly right. No, we typically know. So cavities will make your teeth either like chalky, like really white.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll be like a brownish, yellowish, orange. So
that's
you can, you can see.
So that was me. I didn't like the Marlboro Man's fingers. So you can see, and then when you drill it out, you know when it's all out because you can't.
It looks like the rest of the tooth when it's out. So we want to make sure we get. It's just, I call it squishy soft stuff. So it's just kind of like mush. You kind of can either sweep it away with an instrument or see a change in like.
And another thing I thought of was that you'd be able to hear a difference in the sound.
Yeah,
because the way the instrument would touch
that is the worst part of going to the dentist.
See,
the sounds are awful.
I really, I
hear them all day.
You know how people, they tell you about the cilantro thing? Like some people eat cilantro and they love it. And some people, there's no gray area with cilantro.
Right.
Some people absolutely, it tastes like dishwater. And some people love it. With the dentist, I think it's the same way. You either hate the dentist or you
I don't
love
hate
the dentist.
I just hate the sounds.
I love it. I love the sounds because I'm like, he's getting it. He's doing the technology to get my cabinet.
Ears.
To me,
I got you. Okay, you probably have sensitive hearing.
Yeah.
Then.
It's the smell of what
smell.
seemingly smells like my tooth
Right.
burning.
They're burning your teeth.
Yeah, they're burning at the bad side.
It's like the smell of teeth.
I love the smell of teeth in the morning.
It's weird.
Yeah, wisps up. And then
to wake me up. Yeah.
You see that little bit. I don't think it's smoke, but you see a little bit of the wisps coming out of there when they're really getting it good. I love it.
And then once you have a filling in the tooth, does it protect it from future cavities?
It's like Tommy John surgery, stronger than ever. I can do a car part.
Like a wide receiver getting his ACL fixed is like stronger now.
I'd call it like a reset button. So like any restoration, like a crown or filling, even like veneers that people get placed on their teeth. I mean, just like your natural tooth can get a cavity, anything can get a cavity.
Can you give me novelty veneers without?
Of course.
I want big. I want a big set. It's
man.
too large for my mouth.
Like Bugs Bunny style.
Yeah, I want like big chomps.
Well, David, I'm going to throw a hard ball at you now.
Yeah.
Get ready. Because I have this conspiracy
The ladies
theory.
in the chat room, by the way, even ladies in the chat room that hated the dentist are
Yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of girls saying, you know what, I didn't like the dentist, need to go check them out.
Again, it's Dapper Dental in Winter Park. So I've got this conspiracy theory with, and me and Daniel talked about this. So Daniel said when he was a kid that they gave him this coating on his teeth. And I remember people talking about this.
I still have one. You could probably see it. I still have one of my sealants. They're called sealants.
Yeah. And then, and he's like, they seal all your teeth to prevent
This is
cavities.
the airless tire.
So then I'm like, well, why doesn't everybody get that? I'll get my teeth sealed so I don't get cavities.
I didn't get a cavity till like I turned 32 or something.
Sealants are magic.
All my friends were like, what? And I was like, it's got to thank the sealants, bro.
And then my conspiracy theory is dentists don't promote the sealants because it puts them out of business. They want people to get cavities.
Tire,
yeah. Like it's why they killed the guy who invented the car that worked off water because of big oil was like, we can't have this. So can you just get sealants on your teeth once every 5 years and then never get cavities again? How does that work?
Probably. So. I mean,
oh my God, we just thought of that here. We just thought of that here.
So you get cavities in different parts of your teeth. So sealants are protecting like the top, like the biting surface of your tooth. So you can get cavities at like the flossing spot where like the floss snaps between your teeth, and you can also get cavities. So it'll help. I mean,
I thought I could get the sealant and then never have to brush or floss again.
I mean, when you're thinking about it, though, I think it would be almost virtually impossible to seal everything. Because I think the way that they did it,
technology, man,
they did the paint, and then this always blows my mind. And if you are not confused by this technology, and you do understand this technology, and you're not amazed by it, then I think you're superhuman. But I am still in awe of anybody that can paint my teeth and then stick a light in there, and they're like, "Yep, the light did it. It's all done. The light.
Yeah.
What is the light? Like, what do you mean the light?
Oh, let's talk about the light.
Yeah.
Going back to
I love the light. And I don't
Nail
even know what
salon
it does.
technology.
Once you once you put on the filling, then you use the tiny what looks like a black light, tiny
It's a
black
little
light.
Yeah.
And then that
I love the light.
that it just speeds up the curing process
Yeah.
of how does
So
that work?
the material we use to fill, whether it's a sealant or a filling, is kind of like a putty. So the light activates it so it sets. So basically, we want it soft enough as we're working with it so we can play with it, move it around, and put it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And then when we want it to set, we want it to set, so we want to get like moisture and stuff in there. But it's basically, it's a blue, without getting too technical, it's like a blue wavelength light, and there's an activator inside the material called camphorquinone. So when that blue light hits it, it causes it to set. So you'll see we typically will like either turn the light off as we're working so it doesn't set, or we'll use like a little orange covering on the light so that it doesn't set as we work with it. So once the blue light hits it, it's set.
Now I know why
There
the
you
orange
go.
cover is. I've seen the orange thing, and I'm like, what the
Like
hell is
instantly or 10 Mississippis, or what are we talking about?
Certain lights different. So the older lights were like 20 seconds, and newer lights, they say 3 seconds. I still will cure like 5 to 10
That's
seconds.
amazing.
Yeah.
Faster than JB Weld.
Yeah. So the
It's pretty insane.
so the chat room is asking, do you mind taking some questions
No,
from
go
them?
ahead.
Okay,
Listen.
I think this is a good question, and it falls into Tom's category of a hardball question.
All right.
Can you tell when we go in there and we just flossed the night before and we're we're pulling that floss out, it looks like we're pulling icing off of a Publix cake. We're like, oh God, look at all this yellow mung.
Because every time you go in,
Yeah.
you're like, I gotta floss the first time
Yeah.
before, so they don't know
And
how
then
bad I am at
You
this.
spit and it looks like Rocky.
Yeah.
And you're rinsing it down. So everybody knows that. Then then it's like your mouth is sore.
Yeah.
While you're watching baseball, you're like, oh God, I hurt myself. So then you go to sleep. When you wake up the next morning, not quite as sore, but it's still like you guys know when you look at it, you're like, this guy never flosses. He flossed last night and it's inflamed, right?
It's very obvious.
100% inflamed.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Not fooling anybody.
Okay, so
Don't even try to lie. If you ask,
I
have you
mean-
been flossing? Just say
Well, just
yes.
don't ask. You know, right?
Well, they're gonna ask.
Don't
That's
ask, don't tell.
That's their job. That's like a
Yeah,
cop
yeah, yeah.
walking
Well,
up.
then you
and
know the answer. Don't
But-
make me lie to you.
But that's like a cop
It's
walking up and
yeah.
not asking how fast you're going.
the
He's not going to
friendship
just
test.
walk up and go like, you know the drill. You know, like he's going to ask.
Yeah. I'll know if you're instantly a liar or not. So it definitely.
Yeah. So if you go, have you been flossing? The correct answer is, I did last night, and I
Exactly
am
right.
shameful.
Yeah.
I just set my appointment for July 26th. I'm going in for my cleaning and my.
You're gonna see how bad it is.
Yeah, wait.
Well,
man.
COVID, and I want to ask you.
You have
this
COVID. Oh my God.
Well, it threw off my normal maintenance
Yeah.
schedule.
Oh, that's what everybody said.
I feel like a lot of
Yeah, we got a lot of that.
And then, I think I haven't gotten my normal. Got myself. Okay, let me ask you this, David. I thought I was brilliant, and I hacked the
You
system.
always think you're brilliant.
No, but
You tell Sam and I that daily.
they every 6 months you're supposed to get your teeth cleaned,
Yeah.
right? So I bumped it up to
yeah.
every 4 months.
Yeah,
I did
he
it
was-
once a quarter.
He was 4-month Tommy.
And then
And you said you could eliminate flossing by doing that. That's a find that
yeah,
quote.
right.
Sam has that quote somewhere.
I
That's
still-
a quote.
Where's the tape, you guys?
Yeah, there is a tape of that.
Well, I just said eliminate flossing as much, or you mess up and don't do it as much as you should
Fine
have.
print,
Like
fine
I get the teeth cleaning every quarter. Will that work, David?
I mean, it'll definitely help. So the only reason people get their teeth cleaned every 6 months is because that's what insurance does.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
most
like I
people.
don't like insurance. I tried to do what
Yeah.
he said, but my insurance will not
They-
cover.
a lot of
But
insurance
pay
will pay.
for it. I
yeah,
mean,
but
it's
then,
not,
you know
not
what
that
Andrea is?
expensive.
Andrea's like, she ain't gonna let me do that.
Well, that's less expensive than the GD root canal that you have
Yeah.
to get later because your
That
teeth
is- that
because you
is
screwed
true.
it up.
I would have everyone get their teeth cleaned every 4 months if I could.
Okay.
Insurance
Wow.
complicates things. So no,
Don't
it's
say
the
that.
right
You're just
thing to
pumping
do.
his ego.
And I'll just pay because it's cheaper to do that than
Yeah.
handle because I'm inherently lazy and I know I'm going to screw this up. Yes, in a perfect world, brush your teeth 3 times a day, which is, by the way, that's overkill, right? No one needs 3 times.
I mean, At least 2 times.
Okay,
we
used to work.
Once a night.
You and I used to work with a guy that had big, pronounced Timmy Turner teeth. He had big, old, Fairly Odd Parents.
My favorite kind of teeth.
Yeah, he had the big Fairly Odd Parents teeth, and he would go into the bathroom at Clear Channel and brush his. He had the big, like rabbit teeth in the front.
Who brushes after lunch? Like I see
did.
these people like after
He
lunch.
flossed and brushed. He'd go in there because I'd always go in there
this
to grind a grumpy, and he'd be in there just really cleaning them up. But I guess when they're that pronounced.
Got to keep them clean.
Yeah. It'd be like if my eyeballs were the size of basketballs, I'd wear sunglasses. That didn't make sense.
What kind of sunglasses would you wear?
I don't know. Special made.
Goggles.
Yeah.
Now you say you love that guy, David, but don't you love the guy that does it? Because it's better for business, the guy that's horrible.
Yeah, don't you like us better? Don't you like me? Like last
Maybe
night,
he actually cares about his patients.
I love
not,
my patients.
I hate to
Not
tell you
the
this.
business.
Last
okay.
night I fell asleep with a bag of gummy bears in my mouth.
Oh no.
Just wide open, mouth wide open.
Like to me, I like the advertisers for our business that have unlimited money and never bother me. And don't even ask if it works.
all the bad teeth. Yeah.
They just give me money for advertising and then never even talk to me, and they don't even care if it works or not. But you're opposite. You actually care about your patients.
Yeah, I'd much prefer people to be healthy.
Okay.
I'm a healthcall provider, you guys.
That's
Gotcha.
true.
Let's be serious.
That is true.
So
How would you advise people, because this is a serious question, another hardball question, how would you advise people get through, like some of the, I make a lot of jokes about it because it's not something that I'm afraid of, but I also am the type of person where I'm extremely compassionate when it comes to people who have irrational fears. I mean, like my fear of flying could be anybody's dentist trip, and the dentist trip seems to be right in the same category. You know what's funny is that fear of flying seems like everybody has it, and dentistry seems like everybody, you know somebody that's got it. So how would you advise people to try and get through that? Because it does, like, tooth health affects all of your health, your entire body's health. Flossing has to do with your heart and heart disease and stuff like that. You know, like it's important to keep your teeth healthy.
it is weird about people's irrational fears of dentists. Like I've met old real men that are scared of the dentist. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not scared of anything.
And I'm
like,
lucky in that, it's like count your blessings. I'm lucky in that, like, when I leave the dentist, I'm high. Like, I'm like, yes, pumped up. I got clean teeth.
Yeah.
So how would you help out people that are really scared?
I mean, the obvious answer is just come to my office.
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
No, but that helps that you talk,
definitely
I think,
helps.
maybe, that you're not, I mean, if people can ask you any question, your bedside manner would probably help. The fact that they hear you here, they can ask you a dumb question, because it can be scary.
It is. And I think sometimes if patients just, as you're a kid, if you have like one bad experience, because a lot of, I
didn't think about that.
Imagine working on a kid. Kids are hard to work on generally. I think a lot of dentists, I don't know. I could imagine if you have just like a bad experience as a kid, it'll shape your perception of it, and then you're scared to go back. And the higher your anxiety level is, the higher you react to pain and stimulus, and so it's kind of it just kind of cycles in a bad direction. So I think, honestly, like I was like you. I actually had a lot of dental work done when I was younger.
Me too.
But I still really enjoyed going, even though I had some stuff that wasn't always super comfortable. I think it's kind of shaped on your early experiences at the office. So honestly, for me, I found patients who come to me who have those issues. It's just about talking to them and letting them kind of express to you why they're scared, what scares them, and then alleviating that. So like my office, we do, if the noise, like you said, the noise makes you crazy. Well, not you.
Well, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, but I think most people are
very
like
true.
Samantha. They hate the sound of the tools.
But like noise canceling headphones, it's like a really easy thing we can do. We have TVs on the wall, so you can just like watch a movie, chill out. Yeah. So
TVs on the wall.
That's awesome.
my last dentist put a bag over my head.
How do you get to your teeth?
It's like an execution.
hostage
What are you
situation.
doing?
They
I know.
poked a hole where the
This guy-
teeth go.
My God, you're in a cave, Taliban cave. That's terrifying.
So
I didn't think of something as simple as, like, let's just put this on, put some music in your ears so you don't have to
Just
hear what
throw
I'm
on
doing.
some amenities.
Yeah, give me 10 minutes
Yeah.
and we'll get you out of here.
So, David, let me tell you an experience I had. This was probably 15 years ago when I used to be on a terrestrial radio show in the morning.
Oh, dapperdental.com, by the way. The chat room's checking out and the pictures. They love the the way that your office.
Oh, your office is beautiful, by the way.
It's fantastic.
My old dental, I was in an old
impressive.
spooky house. But seriously, it was like a house that I walked into.
Some creepo's
I was
house.
like sitting on the couch.
Some old man.
They're dropping your teeth on the floor.
Like,
I'm almost done with watching show. Then I'll come and fix tooth.
the receptionist was the old kitchen. I'm like, I can tell this used to be a kitchen. Anyway, so let's talk nitrous because I had an old dentist 15 years ago that was trading dental work for Orlando Predators.
That was Dr. Maserati. Yeah.
And he also
This guy's a mover and a shaker.
one time he gave me nitrous, and then he's like, I turn it up high for you, drunkie. And then
That's how you know.
and then he put the nitrous on so high that I literally I thought I had died, and I was reliving the last 15 seconds of my life. Like that's what I was like tripping.
He called me after this. I remember this.
I was like, oh, God. He's like, yeah, and then all of a sudden, I just kept reliving the last 15 seconds, and I was hearing the last 15 seconds.
Time loop.
In a weird time loop, and I was like, oh, I died already. And like, this is... I was convinced I died. I was having a straight panic attack, and then I came out of it, and and I'm like, was I too sensitive to it, or like, there's no way he could have gave me that much to. There's a stopper on there or something.
Stopper.
I think we should try to recreate this for you.
So,
Ooh,
the nitrous. How does that work?
So nitrous is just the reason we use it is because certain things like a Valium is like an oral sedative, so you can take it and it gets in your system and it kind of stays there for a certain period of time.
Kills
till
your
it gets out of
anxiety,
it.
right?
Yeah. Nitrous is something we can like throw on right away and take away really quickly. So you can come in completely normal, hang in the chair, pop the nitrous on, chill you out for a little while, and then you can come to in like a minute, 2 minutes right out of it. So it's quick and it's very effective in that way.
But the limits are low, right? And like nowadays, I'm sure there's some sort of
the machines let you only like titrate it and get it to like a certain level. So I've never heard of anyone overdosing on nitrous, but I'm sure
now you have.
until today.
Well, obviously I was fine, but it felt like I died, and I was living
right off the bottle.
I was living the 15-second time loop over and over. Terrifying. So, and then if you like, okay, let me ask you this, because I've heard, and this sounds like a real man telling me something that's false, but I heard the story one time from this dude who told me that he didn't want to pay for the they give you a shot of numming in your gums, the Novocaine, because that was extra money.
Tastes like orange to me for some reason.
And then
he's
he's like,
sticking me like 1,000 times. It feels like
he's like, I told my dentist no Novocaine. He's just gonna fill my cavity with
I'd like to slap my cheeks afterwards.
And then I'm like, no way they did that. He swore that he did that. So have you ever seen that? And
it gave me such anxiety. The first patient I ever worked on when I was still in dental school refused to get numb, which I think, I would.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. But he would snore the entire procedure all the time. And I would just be cleaning out cavities, and he'd just be like out cold. And I don't know.
He was sleeping without Novocaine.
Maybe he really likes the dentist. Damn, I thought
how much would that hurt?
This guy loves.
It wouldn't feel. I can imagine it probably didn't feel great, but
or maybe it was his thing,
was in
right?
like a zen state.
But I guess if he didn't hit the nerve, maybe it wouldn't hurt that much.
Well, that's the thing is that like a lot of times a dentist, because you guys are good at what you do, and there's a reason you went and got the knowledge and did the teaching and the schooling.
Thank you.
But like when you're in there, like digging around, like if they're doing it right, it should be not very scary. It should just be like an inconvenience.
Noise and water.
It's really not. I've never had anything where like you see in shows, and I think that a lot of this is stereotyped.
Yeah, I do too.
And in movies, you see like the person touch it, and then the person like, and they're like, it blows it. No. I just don't think that happens very often. I don't think it does. I think that's a thing that we've created in our brains because of like maybe you had one bad experience.
Yeah. But I've seen some people that they say like, I had a bad experience, so I never went back to the dentist, and their teeth. This is also back in the radio days where a lot of radio listeners have real bad teeth for whatever reason.
Well, they use them to turn the dial. Turn it on, turn it down, and it erodes them.
And they would explain to me how bad their teeth are, and I'm like, oh, I can see. And then they'd be like,
teeth are bad.
And then they'd be like, the root is hanging out of one of them, and I'm like,
God, it looks like your eyeball's hanging out.
And my thought was always means, well, how you're living has to be worse than going to the dentist and fixing these problems that you're afraid of.
Yeah.
Like, what you're experiencing now is more terrifying to me than any dental visit because you're living in agony and your teeth are
the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Is it the embarrassment?
Yeah, I think it's a judgment thing too, and I think a lot of people wait till something either hurts or is bothering them to come in and get seen, and that's like the worst thing you can do because it's always going to be like the most expensive type of treatment and the least comfortable type of stuff. So preventative care is 100% the easiest way to go about it, because once things are like infected or inflamed or hurting, it's
a lot
hard.
more complicated.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated. It takes more work to get it back to where it needs to be. So
David, let's talk about Dapper Dental for a second, because I imagine when most dentists get out of dental school, what's the career path? Like going back to kind of Weird Job Wednesday, do you, like a lawyer, do you go work for a firm of lawyers first and then you leave there and start your own business?
Yeah, man, it kind of depends. So you can go, like I said, they have residencies where you can go learn a little bit more if you still feel like you're not ready to practice yet. So some people go that route. But most dentists, when they graduate, they just kind of go out and start working. So there are like group chains. I'm sure you've seen like the Sage Dentals. There are chains like all over the place, whether it's here in Florida, other states have their own chains. There are group practices you can join. And I started actually in a corporate office for my first year out, and it wasn't for me.
We got a chain dentistry, right? I go to a chain currently. I go to Piggly Wiggly Dental.
Yeah.
And it is
So I'll
be making my appointment with you, sir.
So you worked there, and then you just decided I'm gonna start my own practice.
It just wasn't for me. I think a lot of that, it was, not to poo-poo on anyone, but a lot of those offices tend to have like a corporate structure. So it limits your clinical, not to say that they nudge you in one direction, but to some degree, you can't really make decisions completely how you feel that they're always going to be best. There's guidance in that regard. So
the corporation is telling you, like, push these ceilings or whatever. I've worked for a corporation before.
Big tooth.
They want you to make money for them.
Yeah. So it just wasn't for me. So I went down to South Florida. I lived in West Palm Beach for like 6 years, and I worked at a private practice. And I loved it. I worked with a mentor of mine down there, and he gave me a lot of help. I was still really young and really green, so it helped me kind of figure out, because dental school doesn't really teach you how to deal with insurances, how to run a business, how to, obviously interpersonal stuff is something you kind of learn too as you kind of go through it. So it allowed me to kind of pick up a lot of tools. So when we moved back to Orlando, my wife and I moved up here, a couple of years ago, I knew I wanted to go right back into that. So we just kind of took our time, found a good spot. And when that spot opened up in Winter Park right next to Ravenous Pig, I loved it. And we just kind of hit the ground running.
You guys still do train shots when the trains come on? You used to do that at the old PRs.
Shots of lidocaine.
Yeah, there you go.
David, just to give us an idea, because we always go into like what things cost on Weird Job. Like, how much is your standard dental chair? Like, if you have to order one dental chair, like, what are we talking about?
I'm obsessed with chairs. Like, barber chairs and dental chairs are cool. Dental chair's like an upgrade. That thing's crazy good.
Yeah, so,
feels good.
What does that run?
Dental chairs are really expensive, so I'd say anywhere from a standard.
No, give me the big dog.
All right, big dog. You're looking like 16 to 20,000.
Oh, you just blew Tom's fake hair off.
All it does is recline down, up and down.
You're crazy.
Ours massage.
The massage.
That's awesome.
And then what about a set of tools?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a set of truck nuts.
Like, everything's kind of expensive. I'd say like a dental instrument, like a dental mirror, like $35.
Whoa, my God, $35.
Tiny round mirror.
It's price gouge. It's supply chain.
But do you have
the drill?
Can you get fancy ones? Like, if you're like, you see sometimes a barber will have a set of gold shears, and you're like, yo, this guy's the fade king. Can you get like gold instruments and be like dripping with rings?
I bet you could.
Yeah,
they have some different options. I mean, they have some pretty ridiculous stuff out there too. But I mean, you're just like kind of your run of the mill stuff. Dental equipment in general is very expensive.
Yeah, like what's a X-ray machine cost? floss, the one that you go.
The circle.
Yeah, and then you push it up to the.
I love the. There's something wrong with me
because the bite's the worst.
I love the bite. They're like biting, and I go.
You like all the weird stuff.
I love it.
Sadist.
And then you put your chin in that little gray thing, and they're like, and there's that little cigarette that comes out, and you're like, you have to bite the cigarette. I almost cursed. That's how much I love it.
Yeah, but that thing, that's got to be expensive, right?
Yeah, we use a handheld unit, so instead of like the wall units, we have like a quick, so it's much faster.
Nice. And
it's like a little gun.
Do you still have to put the
still put the apron on, but we can just walk
in.
you just aim it and shoot. So instead of having to like walk out, press a button, and come back, it's like
I'm an anxiety boy.
You got the nice stuff.
Yeah,
my last dentist had a huge equipment he rolled in. Then the lady had to
he was in
jump behind a big
metal shield. It looked like she was saving herself from Nagasaki.
And then I'm wearing the bib that's 40 pounds. It was like, how much how much x-rays are you shooting me?
Welder's hat.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
And we'll end with what kind of a general dentist, what are you even allowed to do? Like, what do you
can do anything. So general dentists can do anything any specialist can do, but you're held to the same standard of care as whoever. So if you're going to pull a wisdom tooth and you need to be able to do it as well as an oral surgeon, you're held to the same standard under the law. So I know my wheelhouse. I know what I'm really good at. I know my limitations, and I think that's kind of case selection is key. So if there's a case that's kind of complex, we have specialists for a reason. But.
So you're not like Tom. If Tom has one day of dental school, he's like as good as a surgeon.
To go.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of wisdom teeth, I'll tell you another dentist horror story that I went through. I got my wisdom teeth, and once they pulled them out, they got infected because I went immediately to a camping trip. I was smoking,
cigarettes and dumping orange sun kiss in there.
And then my neck swole up, and then the dentist like, oh man, they started giving me antibiotics or whatever, and then it was getting worse and worse. So my wife finally, she's like, you got to go back to this guy, like it's giant goiter on your neck. So I go back.
It sounds like a separate issue.
I went.
Yeah, he had like an infected pustule on his.
He immediately sent me to the emergency room. They put me out, gave me surgery, put like a drain tube in my neck. The whole thing 2 weeks, and then they took it out, whatever, and then it started coming back. And then my wife's like, your goiter's coming back. So then I went back to the dentist.
To wear scarves around it.
And then the dentist, and this is where you'll probably laugh, the dentist is like, oh man, it's back. And then he's like, instead of, because I didn't have insurance or anything.
Lock the door.
And there was another Predator's ticket scenario.
Yeah.
And then he's like, instead of sending you back to the hospital, he's like, I think I could, use a knife and cut your neck and then put
you just give me 2 tickets to the Predators and a box of Bud Light.
And then this is how I was just like, okay. And then he put me on the Twilight again. And then as he was cutting my neck, I remember being shocked awake with the Twilight. I was like, ah! And then they were holding me down. And then he was
bite the stick.
He was performing surgery on my neck.
Write the number in lipstick on the mirror.
And then I remember thinking, I'm like, I bet he can't legally do this. He's not
pull his pants down.
You're qualified to start doing surgery on my neck.
Slicing your neck open.
So that's probably not.
You don't do that.
I don't really do that.
No. Okay, good. That's good.
That is a good sign.
We just wanted to make sure.
Well, David, thanks so much. Last but not least, and I'm not asking you personally, but what does the average dentist even make in the United States nowadays?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the recent averages. I think they make between 120 and 140, I think is about average.
Okay.
That's what they
That's
say.
good.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be more. I guess that's an answer.
That's reported income is what they say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd pay that guy cash, too.
That guy.
Right after he cut my neck, it was like $500.
Goodbye.
DapperDental.com.
Check it out.
Right next to Ravenous Pig in Winter Park.
Super easy to find. You'll love the branding. Easy to spot.
And we'll be doing commercials for David and Dapper Dental as we go.
Thanks for coming in and being a good sport and letting us talk to you. And we'll take a quick break and come back with more A Corporate Time.
All right.
It is another A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I am Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here. Samantha, tell us what's up. Is it this week you recorded? No, last week you recorded.
Recorded Semantics last week, but we will be recording a new You Heard About This
there
one
you
this
go.
week.
What
all about UFOs.
Okay. Tom, you like the UFOs? You believe in aliens?
Well, I don't believe.
I find all this
UFOs, not necessarily aliens, though.
Yeah, just
UFOs
unidentified.
are very. Did you see the add this to your? Heard about this one this morning? Breaking news: the rocket that's on the moon that they can't explain. Mm-hmm. Did you see that?
No,
that's brand new. That came out this morning. NASA is.
I'll look into that.
They're like, there's a rocket on the moon. It's not ours, and it's not any of our partners. How did it get there?
Oh, all right. I'll look into it.
I figured it ties in. So
it's Russia or China or
that's
something.
what you would think, but they're saying no. They're actually claiming, and it's not any like. I don't think it's sensational. I think they're like, we don't know what this is. It appears to look like a rocket, and we don't know how it got there, and it's not one of ours.
I'm sure maybe other countries have secretly tried to land on the moon.
Oh, for sure.
And then they're not telling them the United States or something like that. Anyway, there's a belly flop competition at Hourglass Brewing.
Yeah, when's the last time you been out there? That place is amazing.
July 3rd. Also, Pyrospot is a brand new location in Seminole Town Center. Of course, iwantfireworks.com for all locations.
Yes.
I believe I'm going there today. And then we have a villain merch special, Tom and Dan villain co-branding merch that we got.
Yeah.
And villain Tom and Dan coffee, all at tomanddan.com. On our merch section.
The item of the week is a mesh hat. If that doesn't make sense to you, think trucker hat, but think the mesh part in the back all the way around for ventilation. It's got a Tom and Dan BDM patch with custom art from the Danger Brain on the front. It's a beautiful hat. It's got the scrambled eggs on the top like your grandpa likes. It's a great hat, perfect for scooters, motorcycles, one wheels, or the beach.
All at tomanddan.com under the merch section. Let's do some voicemail.
All right. We got a ton of voicemail. And I'm going to be going through our landline, the 1-844-TOMNDAN line. I'll be going through that this afternoon. So last call to maybe jump on board and get one of those on there. Now, hot topic, and I'm not talking the store. I'm talking you being a coffee man now.
Tom, I was so proud of you. You were telling everyone about how you know the enjoyment of coffee now, and you know the guy was making the great cup, and and then you said you put Splenda? What are you doing, man? Listen to...
He goes on to curse. About how bad he says Splenda is. I used to always drink my coffee with Splenda, and then I was told somewhere along the line, I think maybe even possibly by our trainer, that he was like, nah, just do the sugar. It's better for you than the artificial sweetener. Because I'm not doing a lot of it. It's not like I'm loading it up. I'm just putting one or two in there.
To me, it's just I just want to eat and consume as little sugar as possible. So I'm just, if I can go without sugar on anything, then that's my go-to. So I'll do Splenda or whatever. I'm just trying. It's a weight thing for me.
Gotcha.
And that's it. Like I don't know whether. I also heard that artificial sweetener, you'd have to eat a dump truck of it to possibly give you any sort of bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a bunch of like reports that came out that artificial sweetener could cause cancer, but it was all done with like lab rats. And then when scientists looked at it, they're like, well,
these rats already have cancer.
Well, for this to be the equivalent in a human, it would have to be a dump truck every single week or something.
Right.
Some insane amount.
Which they did to the rat. They pulled up a tiny rat dump truck. They put all that aspartame into the rat, and he got cancer. I think it's negotiable. Whatever. Whatever makes you happy. I did Splenda for years, but then I just switched to sugar purely because I think sugar and cream and coffee just taste better. And I don't do a lot of sugar, so like 2 and 2, 3 and 3, and I'm doing one coffee a day, a big one. So I don't know. Is it bad? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't really enjoy enjoyment. Wow,
write that down.
Like I understand it,
like
but
you
I don't care.
like you've never been the type of guy where you got a coffee and you smelled it and you're like, you take that first sip and you're like, good old yummy coffee.
No, that's what I experienced when I was on my RV trip with that really good coffee that I had.
Then you do enjoy enjoyment.
But then I'll go back to SE coffee and then never even seek out the good one again.
Because the value of it being great to what it being bad is so negotiable to you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, now it just worked into my normal routine, so I'm just drinking it. Usually I'm like late every time. Every day I'm late. So then I'm just chugging the coffee as fast as possible just to get it in my system so I could leave. And as burning my tongue, whatever, it could really be anything. Like any kind of coffee, whatever. It tastes bad, tastes good. It doesn't really move the needle to me, which makes me a little insane, I think.
Well, I mean, there are things with you that you get excited about that move the needle. It's just it's very rare, right?
Anything personally, I don't care about.
I kind of look at it like sex drive. Like everybody's sex drive is going to be like totally unique. Like not everybody's going to want the same thing at the same time. So for you, your level of like seeking out enjoyment isn't going to be wasted on like a tiny coffee. You're not a details guy.
Or on my like if my wife enjoyed a bet, like I'd learn how to make it for Crystal or my kids or whatever or someone else.
Why don't you love yourself, Tom?
It's not even that I don't love myself. I just don't care because to me, it's like my enjoyment doesn't matter. It's like I'd rather.
But it does matter.
Yeah, it does actually.
But it doesn't seem.
It doesn't to him.
To make a difference to me. I don't know how to explain it. Like like if I spent more time making myself happy, like it wouldn't matter. I don't know how to explain it. Like spending time making myself happy doesn't make sense to me because who cares?
Well, it might change your mood and then in turn make everybody else around you happy because you're happy.
That's what people say. Like,
have you ever tried it?
but
I don't know. Everybody keeps telling me this.
I'm never going to try it.
But I don't think it works, even though everyone around me says that it does.
But it wouldn't change my mood, though. That's the thing.
How do you know?
He's already figured it out.
Well, how would it change my mood? I
don't know. You'd have to try it out.
You'd have to authentically do it and see if it changes your mood.
Like what makes me happy is getting jobs done and like working.
What if your job is to make yourself happy?
See, that doesn't equate to any like money or this business or family. Wow,
some of the chat room, you made them real sad.
It's sad. It's better.
They're all bummed out now. They're like, we want him to be happy. We don't want him to be sad. He's not sad.
I was born this way.
Lady Gaga, yeah.
Because my son Tommy is the exact same to the point where it's eerie. He says the same things.
Really?
In fact, he's adopted. It's fine. By himself.
That is hilarious.
And
dude.
if you and some people are like,
he's an all natural. It's fine.
Oh, he picked it up from you. Max doesn't say it.
No,
you know what I'm saying.
That is true. I can witness that.
And
myself.
they're together at all time. Max is over emotional, like my wife. Like he will get.
I relate more to Max.
Get mad, be like angry.
He'll tell you about
happy.
your ass.
Like he'll get his feelings hurt. Tommy, no feelings. He doesn't even understand. Like when Max gets his feelings hurt, he will say like, "Why are you upset about this? This is like is logical." Like I'm looking at myself, and I'm like, "Well, this is ingrained into us somehow, and this is part of our brain and personality." And like, so I understand him. I don't understand like the emotional roller coaster that a lot of humans go through. Me and Tommy don't understand. Tommy will tell me like he'll look at characters.
I don't understand why Max and Mommy are in there. They're really giving it the goods.
Or he'll be like, "Why are you sad about this? Or why are you upset about this? This is the rule."
I need to talk to Tommy more. He'll straighten me out.
No,
give me the logic.
Well, talk to me. Like on the same thing.
No.
You get mad at him. My wife gets mad at him.
He's nice. He's kind and sweet.
So
you're a little harsh. He's got a better bedside manner, Tommy.
I understand that, and it's like if your feelings can never get hurt, or you don't have any thought one way or the other, and you're even keeled. Like I look at it like you'll do better at life.
There are benefits to that for sure.
Then now some people say, "Well, you don't experience the happiness," but I'm like, I don't experience sadness either. And I'm happy, but I'm just. It's in a different way than normal people, I think, right?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Like,
I think you explained this actually pretty well.
I don't know.
No, it totally makes sense to me, man. I get it.
Everybody's a weirdo.
You know what you got to do? You got to start living lucky, dude.
Hey, guys. So I just listened to that Jana and Jason segment from Friday, and it is the funniest thing. You guys with her and him are just, It's like two kids in the back of his class, and they're just trying to get through this presentation. You guys just won't stop trying to derail them, and it is absolutely hilarious. Thanks.
Wow. No, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I mean, that's what we're going for.
Really
we're not trying to derail Jana and
No,
Jason, but
no.
we, listen, me and Daniel make fun of everything. And so we'll continue to do that.
I mean, there's a reason that they're going cross-country, and they're in Spain, and they're making people write their dreams on magnets and stick them to an RV, and we're not. We're not those guys.
It's funny. We've talked about this before, but, like, people, I think they push back against, like, the general... hey, like, think positivity spiel,
Sure.
Because I think people...
Well, it's been a rough couple years.
True. But also people, like, think it's immediately fake, right? Or they think, like, Jana's putting on... Like, that's Jana's personality.
Pretty authentic.
We've known her for 20 years. Like, there's nothing... And, like, there's no scam
I've never seen
behind
her
it.
not like that. I've seen her. I've seen her sad. No, I can
she
say
tells
that.
us that. Yeah,
I've seen her sad, but I've never seen her not be who she is. That's not a put on. Is that what people think?
I don't know.
That's insane if they think that.
Well, I understand.
And it's super judgmental.
But I understand why, though, because a lot of times people like that. It's a put on, right? It's like, they put that out there, but in real life, their true personality is not that. And people don't like that. They want legitimate stuff. But we know Jana is like that. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think other people have...
They're hesitant.
Screwed up that personality because it in other scenarios it's fake. So people
I'd agree with that.
They see, it's like, if your natural personality is like a someone from Jersey Shore. I'm trying to think of
that is my natural personality. Is Pauly D.
It's like they're gonna stereotype you and lump you in with their guys.
I have the hot head.
Oh God.
So whatever naturally your personality is, they're gonna lump you in to the stereotype of what they see on TV or what they've heard, or like shysters that pretend to be positive and then behind the scenes there's something totally different, or that kind of, or selling some BS.
What happened to JWoww?
They all made money. They're still doing it.
About to maybe get married again.
Didn't she get big Fakos, or did she
had
always
big
had
Fakos the whole time?
But I think there's nude videos of her and stuff.
They all made millions just off of the popularity of that show.
Is
right?
Snooki still with Gianni?
I think so, but there's lots of cheating rumors there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Crazy that became so popular.
That's like lightning in a bottle, right? Like, you would have never guessed that thing would pop off and be like a hit.
It was just right time, right environment, and then less noise to be distracted by. You know what I'm saying? So more people are watching one thing now. It's insane, and the fact that everything, dude. There's tons of people that have insane followings that we've never heard of.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the majority of, like, if you ask your uncle the top 100 most popular people
just
right now on the internet,
yes,
you probably wouldn't know any of them.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And combined they have, 1 billion followers or something insane amount.
Yeah.
JWoww is engaged to wrestler Zach Carpinello.
Zach Carpinello. Does he have a famous ring name? Because that's not ringing a bell.
Know.
Zach Carpinello.
My sons, they started watching Mr. Beast on YouTube.
I'm so sorry.
And it's honestly, it's better
Zach
than
Clayton?
some of the other garbage.
Do you know who Zach Clayton is?
No, I don't.
He's in All Elite Wrestling.
Okay. Well, AEW, we might get to see him then, because they travel through here a bunch. So your boys are watching Mr. Beast, huh?
They stumbled upon it, and then they were telling me at dinner yesterday about Mr. Beast's Squid Game that he did.
Oh, yeah. That was like one of his, if not his most popular game show.
I'm sure that's why it popped up. So then because obviously my sons haven't seen Squid Game, and they requested to watch it. I was like, this is too old for you.
Yeah, way too old.
But then they watched the Mr. Beast version, and they went through all the different challenges, right? Like the tug of war, like it's a Squid Game, and he did it like, over a bunch of foam blocks, and they did it like scaled down version of the Squid Game. But
it's like what all Mr. Beast is doing is what radio station morning shows do with dumb radio listeners.
Oh, by the way, have you heard about like Adrian Peterson and I forgot who they're boxing? But Adrian Peterson is boxing another famous.
That was in our fantasy football thread, wasn't it?
Yeah, I heard it on a podcast, a gambling podcast. But who is it, Sam?
Hold on, find out now.
Oh, I meant to tell you.
Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, Le'Veon.
Excuse me. So Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson are going to box in the next big.
I'll watch that.
It's in July, so
I think Adrian Peterson knows
July 30th.
He knows how to beat people.
He does whip his son's legs.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that. It's a terrible joke.
I do like it's. I understand you're doing it for the money. Both running backs have made a good amount of money in the league.
A good amount. Dude, Adrian Peterson should be set if he played his cards right, right?
So now I understand, it's for the money, and then that's why they're doing this, and you can make, who knows how much. They're fighting the undercard of this, I think, YouTube. Is it one of the
Austin McBroom.
Paul brothers? Oh. Austin McBroom?
Yeah, YouTube star Austin McBroom. I have no idea who that is.
Well, McBroom is a fake name, right? I mean,
see, it's funny.
And he will take on fellow YouTuber Isan Gibb.
Yeah, are these real names or fake names?
I think it's their YouTube names. Yeah.
Man, I know this is dumb old man, but I wish they could use real names because it would just solidify to me.
But these are the people putting it on. So these people reached out to Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell and got them involved. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how big these people are. We had never even heard of their names.
They got money.
Yeah, of course, huge. Yeah. Anyway, back to Squid Game. So my sons were telling me Squid Game, and then he's like. I was like, oh, did they do the actual Squid Game at the end? And then he was like, no, they did musical chairs. And then I was like, why not do the actual Squid Game? And then my wife's like, well, maybe they didn't know how to play it. I'm like, we just look it up on the internet. Like it's an actual game.
It's on there. I found it.
Yeah. It's a Japanese game, right?
Yeah. But people have listed it. I've pulled it up. Yeah.
But so then I'm like, why didn't they do it?
Maybe for time. Maybe he put all his resources into the first 6 obstacles and he got to the Squid Game. He's like,
but the Squid Game
chairs.
But it's the easiest one because all it is a chalk drawing.
Chalk drawing, yeah.
And then, but I guess you have to be physical to play that, right? Because it's like you have to run through, and then they don't want people getting hurt or something.
You nailed it. It was probably an insurance thing. But and musical chairs is easier and more controllable.
Yeah. Because the other games,
you answered it. That is absolutely the answer.
But
because as he gets bigger, he becomes more legitimate, like a real company, right? And then insurance takes its hold, and then he loses his charm.
But don't you put like some sort of football equipment on them, or you know what I'm saying, like hockey equipment? So like
who knows? Maybe not enough time. Not enough Walmarts around there for them to scoop up all the stuff they needed. Amazon orders wouldn't come through.
And they gave away a $550,000 prize or whatever. Like all the money it took is like finish with the Squid Game. Like do what it takes. Like get the insurance.
Do what it takes.
Well, I'm just saying, like all that, and you finish with musical chairs. Come on, Mr. B. And then I was like, well, if Daddy did this, I would finish with the actual Squid Game.
Every BDM gets a prize. You'll see.
Then I'm like, Mr. Beast is, this seems ridiculous. You didn't end with the Squid Game, and you end with musical chairs. The whole theme of the damn thing is Squid Game. Anyway.
Let's try this one right here about public potties.
Hey guys, BDM Justin here. Heard you tell a lot of stories recently about your kids in the restrooms, or public restrooms anyhow, and how that goes awry. Had one time I was over at the Willow Tree with them. We walk in there, and there's obviously a couple of real men fellas there who come for their monthly Kaiserwurst platter. And as we're in the stall, he just starts screaming a recent advertisement he must have heard, which is the O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and just continues to repeat it numerous times, echoing across the tile. And as we walk out, one of the old real men there just kind of laughs and makes a joke about, I hope he starts working on your car soon. Second time was when it did not favor a chopper, as I would refer to it. We go to the restroom at Publix, and there's somebody in the stall, so we have to use the urinal, which for him is not easy. I go to use it first, and there's a guy that works there that's in the stall, and he's on his cell phone talking, which is obviously odd.
Yeah, the Spanish people do that all the time. Like Spanish real men will sit and take a deuce and talk on the phone. It's fine. It's a cultural thing.
Then he realizes that my son's talking about him, and he starts making Donald Duck noises, trying to be a chopper, like play with the kid from the stall, to which then my son decides to go down on his knees and look underneath the wall of the stall and say, "What are you doing? Is that Donald Duck?" To which then I hear the fellow just freak out and scream to himself. And I'm like, well, that's what a chopper's going to get.
No, you don't let your kid look under the stall at some stranger.
I mean, sometimes you can't control them. They do things, Sam.
It's fast before you can tell them not to.
Very fast, and we're very slow.
Who is doing this?
I agree.
Who is just
everyone's wrong in this scenario.
But who is just like in a quiet bathroom? Like,
everybody gets an F.
Strange man in the stall. Do not make Donald Duck noises to children.
I have something that I think I've mentioned before, but it happened to me over the weekend that's tied into this. That I don't know if you guys are the same. I'm gonna guess Sam is, and I'm gonna guess you're probably not either, Tom. But if I'm in there, like over the weekend at this dance convention, I went into the bathroom. I go into the stall. If I go into the stall and I'm doing a 2. And I'm sitting there. If somebody else comes in, another dad comes in and sits to the stall next to me, something happens where then I have to let them do their 2 before I can finish my 2. I can't. It messes me up because I don't want to have the interaction. I know this is weird for me.
Freeze.
Yeah, I get like toilet freeze where I don't want the interaction between him. Like I don't want to come out and then have him come out at the same time and then wash our hands
this sounds
together.
like a Tom thing.
It is. This is very much a Tom thing. I might have picked this up from you.
No.
But I'll sit there. So follow me. I'll sit there, and if I started, then I got to stop, and I got to just sit there. And now I'm like, well, I've got to camp out until this guy gets up, exits, washes his hands, and leaves, and then I can finish. It's weird.
Well, you don't want them to hear you?
I don't know. I don't want to come out of the door at the same time
and wash your hands next to him
and have to talk to him. And I don't. And that's weird for me, right?
I don't talk to anybody in the bathroom.
No, that makes sense. You're a hider. You're migrating towards never leaving your house. We talked about this. You don't want any human interaction.
I know. Can you guys see
but
me right now? I have
a
a sheet on myself right now. Can you guys see me? I'm a hiding chirper.
It's going to be hard for you in the future
to
chirp when you never encounter anybody.
If you chirp in the woods, does anybody hear it?
Do you find yourself like if it's a weekend and Maisie's at dance with Andrew or whatever, and you're by yourself? I'm sure there's been plenty Saturdays
I hide it.
where you don't encounter anybody, right?
I go into, if they're dancing and I'm free, I go into our game closet where all of our board games are, and I just shut the door and sit in the dark.
But there's no one to chirp to, so do you end up chirping to yourself?
I talk to Maggie the dog.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I talk to. I'm like, hey.
Now he's just chirping at the dog.
I'm like, look, you gotta get it out.
I'm like, look at you.
Yeah.
Oh, you want a belly squat.
You want a belly squat. That's what happens. The crazy old men that never leave their
turning
house.
into Ozzy.
You start talking to your dogs.
Well, those are actually Sharon's dogs. Like dumb old men that get pee-pee dogs. Like the next stage for me would be golf cart. Pee-pee dog on golf cart, and then Yeti cup with highball in it. And then you drive around Baldwin like Eagle Eye and everything.
Your wife's in the chat. She says he used to play video games online and talk to those people. Now it's just quiet baseball.
I just sit and watch baseball, or I sit and I play baseball.
But then you got to get your chirp out.
No,
right?
I don't say a word to my daughter or my wife. We say good night and good morning.
It's weird because for a chirper, you would feel that you need to do it. It's kind of like, people... It's
like masturbation.
Well, yeah, that.
You got to get it out.
If you like to exercise, it's like you stop
She's
exercising,
right.
You have to get it out.
Andrea is in the chat room, and she says, Daniel comes home and says he's tired of talking. That's true.
Yeah, I can feel
I
that
get
for
home
sure.
and I'm like,
I'm
done.
I'm talking about on the Saturday or Sunday when you're, you haven't talked
Still
all day.
tired.
It's still tired for talking. But what about a whole week of, like we took the last week off? You were chirping at the dance competition.
No,
right?
because I found a room I could hide in at the dance competition. Didn't say a word to a human for 8 hours one day. Didn't make an audible noise. Didn't vibrate my vocal cords for 8 full hours. It was crazy.
So then, do you like talking or not?
I don't. I don't know.
I don't get it.
I haven't figured it out.
Yeah. Is it a?
I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm becoming something different. Maybe I'm in a stage.
So it's either you talk. It's like a faucet. It's either on, all the way off, and then you never want to be.
There's no fader on this. It's on or off. Let's try this one right here.
Hey guys, so listening to the OG recap while you're on vacation, and you're talking about being able to taste test hot sauces and knowing which one is which, and Tom, I'm willing to put real money down that I can even pick a few out, your standard Tapatios, Crystals, Tabasco, Frank. I can pick a few of those out just by sight and smell alone. I've worked in kitchens since I was 17 and I'm 34, so I'll be at the beach party. Well, I'm willing to throw real money down. So, peace out, guys.
Ooh, hot sauce at the beach party. What could go wrong?
Hot sauce beach party.
All right, we'll do a hot sauce challenge. What's his name? Frank?
Well, that's the name of the hot sauce.
It seems like if I put down 5 different hot sauces, I choose like Crystal, Tabasco.
Frank's not in there?
Valentina, Cholula, and you need one more. Jason's mom's.
What's
That's
another?
a good sauce. You could do smack my ass and call me Sally.
Yeah, but I want a
you already got
big corporate.
What about Louisiana?
Texas Pete?
Louisiana.
Oh, Texas Pete.
Louisiana.
Tapatio?
Oh, Louisiana, yeah.
Louisiana is the official hot sauce
Louisiana.
of the Atlanta Braves.
I think we have Louisiana at my house.
And I don't know if this gentleman, one after the other, could
Crystal-
accurately get 5 exactly.
Crystal and Louisiana are going to be hard to tell the difference because they're very similar.
Now, Crystal's thicker.
Yeah, I believe it is thicker.
Louisiana's more watery.
Frank's is the thickest.
Yes, Frank's is, but that's close to Crystal.
Tabasco is vinegary.
That's more watery, way more watery. I feel like everybody could probably get Tabasco just because they've had it.
I'll be honest with you, I probably couldn't. Because I don't eat hot sauce a lot.
Yeah. You'd be this in your lane.
Yeah.
Tabasco, though, I do enjoy. I know a lot of people hate regular, old school Tabasco. I love it. I don't. I like the vinegar taste of it, and green Tabasco is far superior, in my mind. To if you want flavor, I like to get you in the fillings, man. It's like orange juice, cut you. It's like
For some reason, I'm not a big fan of green sauces, like
Me
green hot
either.
sauces. I like the verde.
probably haven't had good ones. There's some really good ones.
No, every time I eat them, I like them. I won't.
It's off-putting.
It's a psychology thing. We're just
Yeah.
green. I want my hot sauce
It's like
red.
the green and purple ketchup.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Gotcha.
it just...
I want it red.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
All right. Let's try. Let's try this one about advertisers.
Hey Tom, this is in response to the BDM show recently where you guys were outlining what happens with losing advertisers. And I got to say, I'm a small business owner. I don't think you should get too bummed out about thinking why they are canceling, even though you have such a great and analytical ROI pitch. The truth is that and I'm sure all of them, they do too, the larger businesses especially, are just completely hounded all the time. 20 phone calls a day, at least that many emails every day from really, really good and skilled marketing and sales companies trying to get that advertising dollar that I might have. So you can do everything just right, but all it takes is one of those days, one of those calls for one of those people to succeed, and their budget shifts. So you can do everything perfectly right. If you pitch everything, all the numbers perfectly line up, and it's going to happen. So I think, again, if I were in advertising or if I were to make a change like that, the biggest thing and best thing that you could do would be just to let them know. It's like, hey, if you're not seeing the response you like, or you get some good ideas, we're always here for you. And some of them are going to come back. Anyway, hate to hear you guys bummed out about it. You guys are doing good, and I wish that I had advertisers calling me that had a pitch like yours, because I would spend on it. If I was
why don't you
sir,
spend
Well, where are you?
We'll pitch to you right now, sir.
And what do you sell? What do you
Hell.
do?
And don't you tell me how to do business.
Oh, no, I knew that was
I
going
was
to
just
happen.
trying to
I
make
knew
you
that was going to
feel
happen.
better.
He was a sweet man, wasn't he? What a nice
Yeah.
man. And he took it seriously. It's like the first serious voicemail we've ever received in 11 years of doing this.
Well, basically, all you told me is that nothing matters, and it's all happenstance, and it's and that's what drives me crazy.
He said the opposite. He said everything matters.
No, well, he says that they're getting hounded by so many people. And I do know that. Like, we used to advertise on some things around town, and they will hound you forever once you start.
I'm looking at you. What's his name? Winkler.
Yeah, they'll call you and hound you every single month to the point where they'll break you down. And you're like, fine, I'll do it if you stop calling me. Which is pretty smart, by the way. I just don't have the fortitude to do that. Like once someone doesn't respond to an email, I never go back. I'm just like, well, I assume they're not interested. Yeah. I'm moving on. And that's why most of our advertisers come to us, and I've never done the cold call and stuff. Now we're starting to have to because their economy is so bad. But that's what's the hard part to me is the explaining the cold call, because they go into it skeptical. It's so much easier, obviously, when they come to you. They're like, I want to advertise with you. And then it's like, all right, let's do this. Yeah. But when you go to them and hey, advertise with us, spend money with us, immediately they're like, prove your worth.
Well, they normally, what sucks,
and then you have to dance.
Yeah, what sucks for us too, especially for you on the more business side of things, it really sucks is that there are companies and businesses and corporations that have ruined it for small businesses. So when we go in there, we're already having to fight through the damage that was done before we can even get to what we can do for you.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we got in there and it was just a clean slate. That wouldn't be bad at all, but we have to always undo some sort of scam or some sort of oversell or some sort of
damage has been done by giant corporations milking the person to death. And then they're like,
and lies,
and then
lots of lies.
Then they're like, I don't want to advertise ever again because I have such a bad taste in my mouth.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job.
And also there's an element that's an illogical element of feeling with advertising that I am trying to figure out here, where the people in charge of marketing, either whether you're in charge of it for your company or you work for a marketing agency or you're the owner and you are making the marketing decisions, you're going to get skewed towards what you feel subjectively will be best. And it has nothing to do with...
It doesn't matter what the person's telling you.
Any numbers or analytics or what will work. It's what you like.
Yeah.
So a lot of times that person will advertise with either shows they like. Now, this helps us in a lot of ways because a lot of times advertisers will come internally from BDMs.
Well, they're like-minded, which helps.
Yeah, they either BDMs that work for the company or are friends with and they'll sell our advertising for us. Yeah,
stuff,
they'll be like, yeah, you have to advertise with these guys, or I want to advertise with Tom and Dan because I listen to them. Like we have some business owners that do that, and that's great, and that helps us. But a lot of that is just because they like the show or that's within their universe. So
that's our opening.
So when we go and talk to a company which we know will work, let's say an electric. I'm trying to look for a big electrician company that's local, which I know will work. If we got an electrician,
I need an electrician right now.
Send BDMs to, it will 100% work. But the owner or the person in charge of that marketing may not know about the show, and then when you
never heard of it.
Exactly, and then so because they've never heard of it, then immediately you're fighting an uphill battle because they're like, I have no idea what your show is. I've never heard of it. I don't even know what podcasting really is. Right. I'm not into podcasting myself. I'm into local terrestrial AM baseball. Sports.
Baseball. Oh God, don't say baseball.
And then I spend my money with, and I don't think he works at the radio anymore, but like Shot Doctor. I listen to Shot. So then they're immediately, no matter what works or not, they're going to advertise with the Shot Doctor because they themselves personally listen to it.
There's implied loyalty just by being a fan.
Which makes no logical sense because business-wise, you should advertise which gives you the best bang for your buck and the most return for your dollar, right? But it's a lot of emotion put into it because they're like, I'm making the decision. I listen to this, so I'm going to advertise. Even though maybe your demographic is something totally different. You know what I'm saying?
It is a personal choice. You're right, especially with small businesses, which is mainly what we're dealing with.
It's like only people in their 60s are listening to this show, and you're advertising on it, and those people have fixed incomes. They're not spending. You want the people in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't make any difference because they do it. So you're battling illogical thinking in that manner too, is subjective thinking that you have to get past. So the marketing is a lot of subjective stuff too.
But we're open to anything. I mean, like just as we're talking about this now, we'll talk about it and tell you exactly what we do or the good things, the bad things. I appreciate this guy calling. And if you wanted to advertise, you could just email tom@tomandan.com. It's that easy, and it will go to you.
I'll tell you.
That's how small we are.
And I'll email you back literally within 5 hours. guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because we need it.
Yeah.
Things started going downhill after BDM appreciation.
Well, that's the economy and I don't know if you've seen the stock market or the any sort of cryptocurrency.
Is it bad?
It's all
I've seen the crypto.
tank. And interest rates are high, and it's
I bought a riffraff NFT. It's virtually worthless now.
So you get people scaling back, and that's another thing. Marketing traditionally goes first if a company's scaling back, because normally it's something that is an expense that can be cut without cutting into your profit. Or revenue, right?
Indeed.
Like it doesn't instantly affect it. It may affect it, way down the line, but it's like you're gonna cut that before you cut salary or any other thing that you need to run your business. You don't necessarily need marketing.
True.
Although with us, though, that's what's frustrating. It will make you money. Like you put in $1, you'll make $2. So why?
2 to 4, 4 to 8.
Do the math.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I got another one.
Tom, Dan, Sam, how you doing? Chuck, Michigan. Listening to...
Before he
What was
continues,
that
I hope you weren't on a bidet. Just go back to it and listen to it with bidet ears.
Tom, Dan, Sam, how you doing? Chuck, Michigan.
Yuck.
Listening to Dan talk about the dance recital.
Yes.
And it brought back cold sweats of my daughter in cheer, which is probably about the same, maybe a little bit worse because it's all teams. And my cold chills come from the $12,000 that we spent to go to Las Vegas because we won nationals. And we placed second in the contest. Got some cool pictures and stuff, but then the ex-wife decided to turn it into a small vacation, which turned into a big price tag. And but yeah, those things are crazy, and music's so loud it makes your tinnitus ears crackle like a blown speaker. So I know what you mean.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. We did it on the cheap. We
Chuck,
drove.
let us know.
Yeah.
My bet is he was washing his dog.
Yeah, I think he was washing his dog.
What's funny is they're like, you won the right to go to nationals. You're like, yay! And they're like, well, you'll have to pay this package.
Yeah,
when you get to nationals,
right.
it's $8,000. You're like, well, I didn't really win anything. This is actually a curse.
Thankfully, that wasn't like that. Thankfully, this one was. We had already paid. I guess their group paid a fee. Much like a soccer tournament or anything else. And then we just sort of did it on the cheap. Other than the gas and the Airbnb, gas was relatively expensive, but I did the old school dad trick of writing down my mileage and using economy and the cruise control and keeping that average. Like I got 24.2 was like what I was staying on the entire trip. It's pretty awesome. Andrea got mad at me, but she was killing my average at the city driving. Killing it.
I've never looked at how much gas mileage anything has ever had. That's how little detail oriented I am. I'm like, there's nothing I can do about it really. And it's like with 10 cent difference in gas or whatever it is. Like I'm like, what is that? $3 or whatever. Like, who cares?
Right.
Anyway,
let's try this one. Is a legitimately good question from somebody people love.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio. So obviously a lightsaber could cut a tree down, but if you're like cutting a big ass tree down, does the lightsaber go through the tree trunk like butter, or is there resistance, like you have to really force it through?
Right? It's a good question.
That's why these things are paradoxes, because it's fake, Zach. So I'm sure you can go back and analyze.
I think it's butter, right? I think it goes through like butter.
Not necessarily, because if you look at how Jedis fight, I've been watching a lot of Star Wars. We watched all of Mandalorian, all of Boba Fett, all of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I heard the Obi-Wan's pretty darn good.
It is good.
I heard that's great.
The boys like it. But you watch
a little Darth Vader action in there.
So when they're fighting with lightsabers and it's lightsaber to lightsaber, obviously...
Does a lightsaber give off heat? Can you light a cigarette off a lightsaber?
I don't know anything about the science of
it can melt.
lightsabers.
Yes, it does give off heat because there's
it smokes when it hits something, right?
Yeah. Well, also you could stick it into metal and then melt the metal.
I want to see somebody light a cigarette with it. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards that there is resistance based on the material that you're trying to chop through.
It would start burning it, too, because it's organic. When you stuck it in there, the tree would immediately start bursting on fire.
Yeah. It's like putting lava on a tree.
Yeah, because it melts metal, so it's going to burn the tree.
So I can't remember what movie it is or which.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Which episode of
Too
what?
many of them.
But there is a scene where a Jedi, to get in, like he's doing the move where they infiltrated a ship and they're trying to get from different
room to room,
and there's big
Cut
metal
the door down.
Yeah, but instead of just cutting,
Wait, it's Mark Hamill. He uses it to cut his way in. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But,
That's a Mandalorian.
No, this one is, I forgot what it may be, Obi-Wan. I can't remember. But he has to put the lightsaber into the door and then just basically work it back like little by little to melt.
He's got a weak
the
saber.
center.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God!
I assume they're all the same string.
I don't think they are.
No, I don't think they are
build
either.
your own at Disney.
I don't think they are. I think
Yeah,
like
I
a
think they're
red
different.
is like real strong, and a blue means you're gay, and green is like you're horny.
There is like the black saber.
Yellow is caution.
Purple
is autism, I think.
But based on some things that I've seen, it seems like a thick metal door, you can't just chop through it as easy as a tree. Like metal does hold some sort of more resistance than
It's
wood.
a different crystal inside of man. Don't beat me up, nerds. It's a different crystal inside of it that makes it the different colors, right? And then that one guy, Rilo Ken, I remember his looked jiggy jaggy because
Kylo Ren. At least I know that one.
Or
I know that one.
Or Rilo Ken,
Kylo Ren.
whatever. I know that dude's lightsaber is janky because he built it himself and it looks jiggy jaggy. I know that. I know Darth Maul had a dual-sided one. I know that.
Yeah,
See, I know some of the stuff, but it's like a crystal.
There's one that spins. But in Obi-Wan, there's a lot of scenes.
I hate the way you say Obi-Wan.
There's a lot of scenes where there's multiple lightsabers in a bag or whatever that are like from other
Grab it
Jedis.
out of the bag.
Yeah. And then
grab yourself a saber.
A grab bag of lightsabers?
And there's no reference to the strength of one versus the other. It all like no one says like, oh, this one.
Give me the red one. I don't want like it's like kids when you're
it
playing.
All looks the same.
It's like kids when they're playing Nintendo. I always wanted the good controller. I wanted my friend to have the bad
one's
controller.
got a bad controller.
Yeah, one's got a bad B button.
I wish there was a big fat nerd we could talk to that knew about all this and also knew a little bit about sports.
That'd
be awesome.
You know, I was on Twitch and I saw there's some guy doing some grainy, look like serial killer footage from like his grandma's basement. And he was
reach out to that guy.
Talking about
see if we'll do a segment.
Old segments in sports.
Yeah. We'll call it sports.
We'll call it
nerd
we'll call it nerd sports.
Okay,
Sports science.
Sports science. Bye-bye.